Toxic people. They don't show up in your life wearing a label. They walk in with a smile, speak soft, play kind, until they see you won't walk away. Then the real game starts, and most don't even notice it's happening. They stay, they explain, they justify. But the truth is brutal. You don't have a toxic person problem. You have a standards problem. And the moment you fix that, just once, everything changes. People either start respecting you or they disappear. That's not magic. That's nature. And it's time you made nature work for you. If you've ever looked back on a conversation, a friendship, or a relationship and thought, why do I always feel drained after talking to this person? It's not random. You're giving your peace to someone who earns it by causing you pain. And the worst part, you trained them to do it. Comment, I choose peace, if you're done explaining yourself. Number 1, you teach people how to treat you. Every moment you tolerate disrespect, you rewrite the script of your worth in someone else's mind. And the reality is, most people won't treat you based on who you are, but based on what you allow. And this applies whether you're in a boardroom, a relationship, a friendship, or your own home. Because every small dismissal, every delayed text they leave unanswered, every joke at your expense that you laugh off to avoid drama, every plan they break and you still say, it's okay. Every one of those moments is a lesson you're teaching, and they're learning fast, faster than you even realize, because most of your life is not shaped by big decisions, but by tiny compromises that seem harmless in the moment, but accumulate until one day you don't even recognize your reflection. You become someone walking on eggshells while they walk through your life like a wrecking ball, and you sit there convincing yourself it's not that deep when your soul is screaming. And what's worse is that the more you allow, the harder it gets to change the script, because now they expect you to accept it. They expect your silence. They expect your forgiveness. They expect your time, energy, attention, all without cost. And here's the dangerous part. They begin to believe that this is who you are, that your love is always available, your time is always negotiable, your value is always on sale. And the truth they internalize is that you are a person who can be accessed without respect, and they won't say it out loud, but they show it with how often they ignore your messages until it's convenient for them, how they make you explain your feelings just to dismiss them, how they keep you around as an option while searching for someone else who excites them more, and they don't feel guilty because you trained them to think this is normal. You trained them with every time you said yes when you wanted to say no, with every time you made excuses for their behavior, with every time you prioritized their comfort over your own clarity. And what's worse is that it never starts extreme. No one walks in and disrespects you on day one. They test, slowly. They see how far they can push. They make a comment here, they flake once there. They borrow your strength and give nothing in return. And the moment you don't push back, that's the green light. Now the pattern is born, and they will keep repeating it until you break it or break under it. And most people break under it because they've been raised to believe that keeping peace means keeping people. But it's the opposite. True peace begins the moment you realize that every time you don't draw a line, you erase a part of yourself, and it doesn't have to be dramatic. You don't need to confront them in rage or type long monologues in the Notes app, waiting for the perfect moment to send it. You don't need closure, you need clarity. And clarity starts with you changing your behavior, not theirs, because once you stop rewarding them, the game changes. They pull back, not because they're respecting you, but because you're no longer useful to them in the same way, and you'll be tempted to call them out, to ask why, to force accountability, but that's just another form of seeking validation. You don't need their apology to heal. You don't need their understanding to grow. All you need is to rewrite the terms of engagement, and that begins the moment you choose to raise the price of access to your life. Emotionally, mentally, physically, You stop being always available. You respond slower. You prioritize what builds you instead of what distracts you, and the silence that follows won't be easy. It will trigger everything in you that's been wired to chase, to explain, to beg to be understood. But that silence is where your new identity is forged, where you teach not only them but yourself what you are and are not willing to accept. And it's not about pretending to be unbothered. It's about becoming someone who genuinely would rather be alone than accepted by people who benefit from your self-abandonment. It's about shifting from the person who bends to avoid conflict into the one who stands tall, even if that means standing alone, and you'll start to notice something. Your circle gets smaller, but the peace gets deeper. The anxiety fades because the people who thrived on your weakness no longer have an audience, and new people begin to show up. Those who respect your energy, those who don't need to be reminded how to treat you because your presence makes it clear, and that's the shift. When your silence becomes instruction, when your absence becomes consequence, when your peace becomes power, not a prize you hand out to whoever shows up, but a state you protect at all costs, and it will feel unnatural at first, especially if you've built your identity around being needed. But that's a fake currency, and once you stop trading in it, you realize how rich you really are, not in likes or followers or temporary affection, but in something deeper, something permanent, something no one can give you or take from you: self-respect. And from that place, you no longer need to teach people how to treat you. They already know, because the ones who don't never even get close enough to try. Number 2, stop explaining yourself. Explaining yourself has become second nature because deep down, you've been conditioned to believe that your choices need to make sense to everyone else before they feel real to you. And that belief is exactly why you feel drained, overlooked, and misunderstood, because you've spent years narrating your life for people who don't even bother listening, people who only hear what serves their agenda. And the tragic part is you think being understood is the same as being valued, but it's not. And every time you sit there typing out long justifications for why you said no, for why you're busy, for why you chose something they don't agree with, you're not helping them see you clearer. You're helping them believe they have the right to weigh in on your decisions. And that's the trap. That's where you lose yourself, because suddenly your life isn't yours. It's a public vote, and your peace becomes something you have to earn by pleasing people who wouldn't bleed for you if the roles were reversed. So stop over-explaining, stop defending, stop trying to narrate your truth into someone else's logic, especially when you know deep down that no amount of words will make them see what they refuse to acknowledge. And that's the test. Can you stand firm in your decision without external confirmation? Can you walk away without permission? Can you say no and let it echo? Not because you're trying to be difficult, but because you trust your inner compass more than their reactions. And that's where most people fold. They crumble. Not because they're wrong, but because they're scared to be right alone. But listen, solitude is clarity. And clarity isn't found in group chats or long phone calls rehashing your every move. It's found in silence, in that quiet certainty where you stop negotiating your truth for someone else's comfort, and it starts small. Maybe you decline an invite without listing your schedule. Maybe you walk away from a conversation that's going nowhere without feeling the need to justify your exit. Maybe you stop answering questions that aren't asked with respect. And each time you do that, you're training yourself to detach your worth from someone else's understanding. Because most people aren't looking for the truth. They're looking for control, and explanations give them that control. They turn your choices into conversations, your boundaries into debates, and your no into maybe. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. You start noticing how often you water down your needs just to avoid conflict. How often you smile through disrespect because they didn't mean it. How often you shrink to be liked by people who don't even like themselves. and you begin to realize that every sentence you explain yourself is a seed planted in the soil of insecurity, because if you truly believed in your choices, you wouldn't need to explain them. You would just live them, own them, embody them, and people would adjust or disappear. And either outcome would be a blessing, but most people never get there because they fear being seen as rude, selfish, arrogant, so they spend their lives narrating their pain, over-clarifying their intentions, breaking their backs to appear good in the eyes of people who are committed to misunderstanding them. And what they don't realize is that being misunderstood is not a problem when you're at peace with yourself. It's freedom, because the moment you stop needing validation, you start moving different. You start speaking less and doing more, and you find that the people who truly see you never needed the explanation in the first place. They feel your energy, they respect your space, and they don't question your silence. They honor it. But to reach that level, you have to go through the fire of being misread, misquoted, misrepresented, and still not bend, still not explain, because you know that silence doesn't mean you have nothing to say. It means you've said enough, and your life is now the answer. Your actions are now the proof, and the ones who can't handle that are the ones who needed your confusion to feel powerful, and you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with losing access to people who only loved the version of you they could manipulate. You have to be okay with walking alone until the right ones find you, and you have to stop giving everyone a front row seat to your evolution, because most people don't deserve the unfiltered version of your journey. They only show up to spectate, to gossip, to poke holes, not to support. And you're not a museum piece for their entertainment. You're a force. And forces don't explain. They act, they move, they disrupt, and most importantly, they evolve without applause. So stop holding their hand through your growth. Stop giving disclaimers for your peace. Stop softening the truth so it's easier for them to digest, and start living in such alignment that even your silence speaks volumes. Because once you realize that your energy is sacred, your time is limited, and your voice is currency, you'll stop wasting all three on people who make you feel guilty for choosing yourself, and you'll finally understand that the only explanation you ever needed was this: I chose me, and that's enough. Number 3, take back your emotional energy. The most expensive thing you own is not your car, your home, or your possessions. It's your peace, your mental space, your emotional bandwidth, and the harsh truth is you've been giving it away to people who don't deserve it. Not because they took it from you, but because you handed it over every time you reacted instantly to something that didn't deserve your energy. Every time you let their chaos become your crisis. Every time you answered their nonsense with your attention, and you thought you were being present, being engaged, being emotionally intelligent. But what you were really doing was making yourself emotionally bankrupt for people who treat your energy like it's free. And once you start realizing that every response you give costs you focus, clarity, peace, and long-term stability, you start questioning what actually deserves a reply, a conversation, or even your awareness, because not everything deserves it. Not everyone earns the right to your reaction, and most of the time, what you're reacting to isn't even about you. It's about them, their mood, their dysfunction, their internal noise spilling into your calm. And when you allow yourself to be dragged into their chaos, you become collateral damage in a story that was never yours to begin with. And the worst part is, you think engaging makes you stronger, but it makes you dependent, because now your mood, your decisions, your schedule are dictated by whatever emotional grenade someone else throws your way, and you're living on edge. Not because your life is unstable, but because you keep letting unstable people write the script for your day, and that has to stop, because when you reclaim your emotional energy, you reclaim your life. And that doesn't mean becoming cold, shutting down, or pretending you don't care. It means caring strategically, responding wisely, deciding that not every opinion, every jab, every provocation deserves a piece of your day. And that starts with the pause, the sacred pause where you choose not to respond right away. Not because you're scared, but because you're aware, because you know that reaction is currency and you're no longer spending it recklessly. And it's in that pause where you get your power back. It's in that pause where you observe instead of absorb, where you notice the manipulation, the bait, the tactics people use to test your control, and instead of walking into their trap, you stay still. Not emotionally dead, but emotionally disciplined. And that's what they don't expect, because people are used to your buttons being easy to push, your patience being easy to exhaust, your boundaries being easy to blur. And the moment you stop playing that role, they get confused, they escalate, they provoke harder, not because you're wrong, but because you're no longer easy to control. And that's when you know you're doing it right, because growth triggers resistance. And the more you protect your energy, the more you'll start seeing who was only there to drain it. And it's not always loud or obvious. Sometimes it's the one who always needs help but never checks on you. Sometimes it's the one who only calls when they need something. Sometimes it's the one who turns every conversation into a complaint and every solution into a new problem. And if you're honest with yourself, you know exactly who they are. And you also know how exhausted you feel after dealing with them. And that exhaustion isn't just mental, it's spiritual, because you're giving from a well that's never refilled, and you wonder why you can't focus, why you can't sleep, why you feel scattered. And it's because your emotional energy is being bled out by interactions you've normalized, and the only way to stop that bleed is to become unapologetic about your access. Who gets it, when they get it, and what they do with it. Because your peace is not community property, your emotional energy is not on tap for whoever feels entitled to it. And once you own that, you stop reacting and start redirecting. You take the energy you used to spend fighting, fixing, explaining, and you pour it into something that feeds you, your goals, your mind, your body, your progress. And suddenly the world feels quieter, not because it changed, but because you changed the channel, and the same people still talk, still act, still poke. But their volume doesn't reach you anymore, because you've chosen your frequency, and not everyone is invited, and some will say you've changed, that you're distant, that you're cold, and they're right. You've changed access, you've created distance, and you've cooled off from being everyone's emotional thermostat. And you've done it not out of hate, but out of self-respect, because you finally understand that your peace is not a negotiation. It's a lifestyle, and living it means you don't engage just because they expect it. You engage when it aligns with your values, when it builds something, when it matters, and the rest. It's not your business, it's background noise, and your silence is not weakness, it's wisdom. And when you move like that, your entire life starts moving differently. Opportunities come that match your discipline, relationships form that match your standards. Peace shows up where drama used to live. And for the first time, you breathe fully, you think clearly, you feel aligned. Not because life got easier, but because you stopped handing the keys to your emotions to people who were only good at driving you crazy. Number 4. Be okay. Being alone. Being alone is not a punishment, it's not a sentence, it's not something to escape from. It's the foundation of every powerful life, because until you learn to sit with yourself, hear your own thoughts without distraction, and enjoy your own company without needing external validation, you'll always be at the mercy of whoever offers you attention. And that is the root of most misery, most chaos, most bad relationships. Because when you fear your own silence, you'll settle for noise, and that noise might come in the form of relationships that break you, friendships that use you, jobs that drain you. But you accept it because it's better than being alone, or at least that's what you've convinced yourself. But the truth is, being alone reveals everything you've been running from, the parts of you you've ignored, the dreams you've buried, the boundaries you've never enforced. And that revelation is uncomfortable at first, because you're stripped of distraction, of roles to play, of people to impress, and all that's left is you, raw, unfiltered, honest. And most people can't handle that, so they run back to noise, back to chaos, back to places where they don't have to face themselves. But growth doesn't live in noise. It lives in that quiet moment when you realize you're whole without them, you're complete without their approval, you're valuable even if no one's watching, and that's where your real life begins. Because once you become okay being alone, no one can use loneliness to trap you. No one can manipulate you by threatening to leave. No one can dangle attention over your head like a prize, because you've already chosen yourself. And that choice is permanent. And yes, it's going to be uncomfortable at first. You're going to want to reach out, to chase, to fill the silence. But if you stay in it, if you let that silence mature you, something happens. Your thoughts get sharper, your boundaries get clearer, your goals get louder, and suddenly you realize you were never scared of being alone. You were scared of what it revealed, and now that you've seen it, you're stronger for it, and people feel that strength. They see it in the way you don't flinch when they disappear, in the way you don't beg for closure, in the way you don't explain your standards, and that makes you powerful, not because you're detached, but because you're selective. And when you operate from that place, you no longer chase, you attract, and you don't attract based on desperation, you attract based on energy, because people feel when you're complete, and the ones who respect that come close with intention, with clarity, with consistency, and the ones who only came to feed off your neediness. They vanish, not because you pushed them away, but because you no longer made space for their chaos. And that's what being alone teaches you, that you're not waiting to be chosen. You're choosing, you're observing, you're building. And from that place, everything changes. Your standards go up, your peace deepens, your self-respect becomes unshakable, and the quality of your life rises not because someone saved you, but because you saved yourself. And that's the greatest gift solitude gives you, the ability to become your own sanctuary, to stop begging for scraps of attention from people who barely see you, and instead create a life so rich in purpose, in focus, in calm, that anyone who steps into it either adds to it or gets left behind. And yes, you'll lose people. Yes, you'll have moments where the silence feels like a weight, but stay in it, because that silence will sculpt you, it will sharpen your mind, clarify your path, and teach you that the most powerful thing you can do is to be whole, not needing fixing, not seeking saving, just existing fully as yourself, unbothered by who stays or goes. And when you get there, when you truly love your own company, you stop looking for people to complete you and start attracting people who complement you. And that shift, that internal shift, is everything, because you'll no longer tolerate half effort, you'll no longer confuse attention with affection, and you'll no longer betray yourself just to feel less alone. And instead, you'll protect your space, you'll guard your energy, and you'll walk through life with a quiet strength that tells the world, I'm not afraid to stand alone, because I know who I am when no one's watching. Comment, I choose peace, if you're done living for people who only come around to confuse you. Like this video and subscribe to the channel, and make sure this message reaches every person who needs to hear it.